Record-breaking Arctic air could be entering the states this upcoming weekend. An atmospheric river continues to barrage the northwest with rain and snow, and our snow chances may be ticking up for the East Coast this upcoming weekend. It's December 7th, 2025. Let's get into the weather updates. The big story today and the big story this week is this potentially, and I said in the beginning of the video, record-breaking, this could be record-shattering, cold that wants to enter the plains and east this upcoming weekend. But before we get into that, I want to set the stage and talk about what's going on right now and what could lead up into this cold. First, let's start off by taking a look at the current radar. As I said, our atmospheric river is still moving into the Pacific Northwest, so we currently have some precipitation falling up here. This will likely continue throughout the early and midweek, but may begin to let up as we approach the weekend. We have some snow flying through portions of the Midwest and Great Lakes region, and we'll likely see some more lake effect snow activated out here, headed into upstate New York and potentially the Erie, PA region. We've got some heavy rainfall and thunderstorms moving through the southeast, stretching from New Orleans out to Jacksonville. This will continue to make its way down to the south and east, and we actually have a severe threat in this region today. Just a general thunderstorm threat for southeastern Louisiana, although most of central Florida is under a categorical risk. And this does include a 2% risk for tornadoes today, stretching from about Cedar Key down to Port Charlotte, and then over here on the east coast from Palm Coast down to Palm Bay. Keep your eye on the sky and make sure you have multiple ways to receive weather alerts. Now let's begin to look a little bit ahead. I'm going to walk you through our next 7 days, really 7 to 10 days, so you can see what's leading us up into this major Arctic outbreak and how that Arctic outbreak could unfold. Our atmospheric river is still turned on. You can see all of that rainfall as we push through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, continuing to move into the Pacific Northwest. And this is what is feeding us clipper after clipper after clipper system up through the northern tier states, really from the northern Rockies all the way out through New England. You'll also notice our jet stream continues to sink into the east. We have quite a large ridge out west here, above average temperatures. It's going to remain dry. And again, we're going to be pretty cold out east, although we are entering a brief period of dry conditions for portions of the Ohio Valley and southeast. As we move throughout the day today and through Monday, that moisture is going to continue to move through Florida. We'll see a little bit of snow up there in inner New England. Another clipper system moving through the upper Midwest. It may drop an inch in Minneapolis, and that rainfall continues to move into the Pacific Northwest. Now, as we get into Tuesday, here comes another clipper system. Again, this is really for the northern tier states up here. Notice we're very dry down south here, and believe me, this pattern will continue for a little bit. Cold air continues to move into the east. Warm air continues to settle out west. Notice what happens as we get into Wednesday morning, really Tuesday evening. A more significant clipper system is making its way through portions of the northern plains and upper Midwest. The European model currently has this as a 985 millibar low, so we could actually see some pretty heavy precipitation totals here. The storm has shifted north and south a few times. Right now, for Minneapolis, it's really tough to tell. Are you going to see an inch? Could you see 5+ inches? Really the same for Milwaukee, Chicago, and Detroit. If this shifts a little bit south, you could get more snow. The issue is this warm air that's pushing up into the system as it moves through, and this is what's amplifying the system. This is why it could drop more snow, but our temperatures in Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Chicago, Detroit could be above freezing as this moves through, which means mixing and ice could be an issue. Let's wait about 24 hours, get our short range models, and see what these temperatures could look like as the system moves through. As we get into Wednesday, this clipper begins to move out towards New England. This should drop a lot of snow for inner New England, and then we have another system on the back end of this. Again, like I said, there's a lot of moisture being fed from the Pacific Northwest. Notice we're still pretty dry down here in the south though. As we move through Thursday and Friday, we start to see our jet collapsing a little bit more into the central plains, and maybe we have some good snow falling from Montana out through Omaha, Nebraska. This is the end of the 06C Euro run from last night, and here's where this record-breaking cold is expected to move in. Pushing us out a tiny bit further, as we get into Saturday afternoon, we get potentially a lot of moisture stretching from the mid-Atlantic up through New England. If we see this trough enter a little bit farther to the west, there is the possibility, because we do expect a storm system out here, that we could see snow along the coast, maybe even through portions of the south. This all comes down to timing, like I always say, but the temperatures are going to be freezing, well below freezing actually. So the angle at which our jet stream sets up here is going to determine if we get some of that southern snow or mid-Atlantic and New England coastal snow. Now let's talk about what everyone is likely to be talking about this upcoming weekend if it verifies these crazy temperatures we have ahead. As we move into the beginning of this week, we're very cold out east, especially through portions of the upper Midwest, Great Lakes region, and New England. You can still see that ridge holding out west. This is moving through Tuesday. This is moving through Wednesday. We get a brief warm up here, and this is what I was talking about. This is what could give us issues with this snowstorm as we move into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. Do we get some ice and mixing because because of this above average air? It's possible. Let's take a look at the short ranges tomorrow. That warm air is likely to move right out though. We get into Wednesday night, we get into Thursday, and we have some more cold air in here. The upper Midwest, again, we're looking at 30 plus degrees below average. And then getting into Friday morning, look at this pool of cold air up here. This is a huge region of cold air that's 30 to 40 plus degrees below average. And right under it, the West is absolutely baking. Moving into Friday evening through Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon, this is truly an Arctic blast. This is the result of our stratospheric polar vortex breakdown in November. Widespread 20 to 30 to 40 degrees below average from the plains out east as we get into Saturday, as we get into Sunday, as we get into Monday. And I want to show you what these temperatures could feel like. We're going to look at the feels like on the surface this weekend. Getting into Friday night, Saturday morning, here's where the Euro expects feels like temperatures to be in the negatives. -15 in Chicago, -10 in St. Louis, -22 in Minneapolis, -16 in Omaha. And we have feels like in the 20s creeping down into northern Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, all the way out towards the East Coast. Getting into Sunday, you can still see all of our negative temperatures and feels like temperatures into the 20s approaching the Gulf. It could feel like 5 degrees in Boston, 10 degrees in New York City, 12 degrees in Philly, 16 degrees in Charlotte, 23 degrees down here in Atlanta. The American model is even more aggressive with this cold. We're talking about getting down to -33 degrees feels like in Minnesota. Feels like temperatures into the single digits trying to approach the Gulf. And potentially negative feels like temperatures from Atlanta, Georgia, up to Charlotte, North Carolina. Louisville, -7. Nashville, -1. I mean, you guys can see this. This is wild. I think the GFS is being a little bit too aggressive, but I don't know. The European was agreeing with this a couple runs ago. So the point is, it's likely going to be cold and records are going to be broken this upcoming weekend. And there's the opportunity for someone to get snow in this region just because of how cold that air is going to be. But sometimes cold air dries you out. Again, you need that moisture to be there. Here's the latest 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. We're absolutely freezing out east and they are well above average out in the west. Moving to the 8 to 14 day range, same story, different day. We're cold out east and they are warm out west. And for our precipitation over the next 6 to 14 days, here's the 6 to 10, here's the 8 to 14. We're dry down south. We're very dry down south, except for potentially portions of far southern Texas and maybe central to southern Florida. As we push 3 to 4 weeks out though, this could change. Still some dry conditions expected for the southern plains and the southeast down here, but as you can see, the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes region, New England, Northwest, the Rockies, we could be doing pretty good. I wanted to quickly show you what's going on with our 500 millibar height anomaly moving forward. We're seeing a consistent pattern of some ridging out here over Alaska and in the Western Pacific. This allows a lot of cold air to spill downstream into the central and eastern US, which is really what's happening here over the next 7 to 10 days. Especially as this ridge over the Pacific expands, as you see here, you see all of this cold air spilling down into the east. Moving a little bit farther ahead in time though, you can see that ridge begins to contract out over the Western Pacific and we'll start to kind of lose our Alaskan ridge. If this happens, we could see a brief period of time where we get a little bit warmer out east and they get some cooler troughing out west. But this is also what may be setting up our kind of zonal flow, which you can see out at the end of the run here. We don't really want to trust what happens 300 to 360 hours out in a run, but here's your zonal flow. You've kind of lost your Alaskan ridge. You don't have a negative NAO. You've got this southeastern ridge here. So your cooler temperatures, your storm systems are sticking up to the north instead of diving down through the states. I'm not so sure. We might see an extended cold continuing in the east with a more active storm track in the east. But for right now, at least the models like this setup into December 22nd. I did just release my White Christmas video. I actually don't fully buy this right here. I think we're actually going to get more of an extended cold into the east as we approach Christmas. And this is one of the many reasons right here. Take a look at our MJO forecast. We could be sitting in phase 8 for a while, and that typically means colder conditions remain in the plains and out east, regardless of how amplified this is. Now, if it's more amplified, that can be colder cold, but we're still talking about a phase 8 MJO. The last thing I wanted to hit on in this video, and I can go over this more in the next video, this is just going to be quick. It does look like as we get towards mid-December, we could have a stretch or potential split of our stratospheric polar vortex. Look at these heights building up in the Arctic, and you can see where the coldest air wants to be. This could have major implications for the end of December and potentially the first week or two of January. And those implications could once again be well below average air for portions of the states, if not all the states. I appreciate you guys watching this video. If you like this type of of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I post videos like this every morning, and as soon as I post them, I hop on live to answer all of your weather-related questions. If you'd like to become a member of the best weather Discord out there, the link is right in the description of all of my YouTube videos and YouTube live streams. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video or in the live stream.